It's TK Friday and it's time for another full edit. Hello everyone and welcome to the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly and welcome to TK Friday. Today's image comes to us from Tamir Vaknin. I'm calling this one Veil of Cloud. This is a cool image of the Italian Dolomites. We're going to have a lot of fun editing this one today. And as always, you can download the image and the PDF notes. I'll have links in the description below this video. Download the PDF notes, download the image, and give this edit a try. It's a great way of learning how to use the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. By the way, if you have an image you would like me to edit on a TK Friday, go to the description of the video, scroll down through, you're going to find a Contact Me link. Contact me and we can discuss doing one of your images on a TK Friday. I'd love to hear from you. By the way, if you don't yet own the TK9 plugin for Photoshop, I'll have links in the description below this video that'll take you over to Tony Kuiper's web store. There you're going to find the TK9 plugin for Photoshop, a lot of great panels over there you can pick up. Sean Bagshaw's training videos, which I highly recommend. And you'll also find the TK Grayscale and TK Magic Mixer plugins. They're sold as a bundle. You'll get both plugins for $12. If you're into black and white photography, you'll love TK Grayscale and TK Magic Mixer. Use my promo code DK15 and you'll save 15% off your entire purchase. When you use my promo code, I make a small commission. And this helps to support my channel, so I really appreciate it when you use my promo code. And not only are you helping me out, but you're getting 15% off. Well, I hope that everyone is doing well. It's time to sit back, relax, and let's dive into this edit. Now, as always, I start out here in Lightroom Classic and do some basic adjustments. Now, I did use an adaptive profile in this image, and I did adjust it to give it pretty much of a flat look going into Photoshop, much like I would get with a linear profile. And the reason being is I want to do all the heavy lifting in Photoshop with the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. So here are my adjustments right here. As you can see now, as far as detail, there's no sharpening. I did use AI denoise on this from Lightroom. Lens corrections, I always check on remove chromatic aberrations, enable profile corrections. And for transform, I just clicked on auto. And I did do a 16:9 crop on this image. But other than that, that is it. Now, when you download the image, it's going to be a TIFF file and it'll look just like this. Now at this point, I just right click on the image, go to edit in and click on edit in Photoshop 2025. And now here in Photoshop, the first thing I want to do is do a balance and contrast on this image. I'll do it a little differently this time because I really like the sky just the way it is. So what I'm going to do is just do a balance and contrast on the foreground. Now, the first thing we want to do, I do want to save out a sky and foreground as a channel. So hold down your shift key and click on this button right here on the Combo CX panel. And that will save you a sky and a foreground as a channel. And then come up to the multi-mask panel, click on this button right here for luminosity masks. We want a MidTones 3 mask, and I only use this to protect the deepest shadows and the lightest highlights from getting clipped. But I only want to apply this to the foreground, so we're going to use the mask calculator. So click on the mask calculator button, click X to make an intersection because we want to intersect the foreground with the Mids 3 mask. Come up and click on the My Channels button, click on foreground, and then click equal. And now you'll note we have a MidTones 3 only in the foreground. Now we want to output this to a color grading tool, so click this button right here. And as you can see, there is our color grading layer. It's a color grading tool controlling the curves adjustment layer in Photoshop. Come to the color grading tool, click the midtone button, and I want to lighten up the midtone. So take this brightness slider, we're going to drag it to the right, and we're going to take it over to right there, 41. Now I want to give it a slight warm color grade, so I'm going to click like right about here. And now click on the shadow button. Let's darken up those shadows. So let's take the brightness slider to the left, and I'll take it over to right there, -14. Now let's click on the highlight button. I want to open up the highlights, and we're going to drag this over to right there, 38. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Now I don't like what's happening up here in the mountaintop, so we're going to fix that. I'll show you how we do it. We're going to put this layer in a group. So come to the Combo CX panel. Here's the group button. It has two sides. The left side gives you a group with a black hide all mask, the right with a white reveal all. So click on the right side. We want to reveal all mask. Come to the combo panel and click this button for the layer mask calculator. Click on foreground and then click this button right here to make the foreground a selection. So click it and you'll note we have a selection. Now we don't see the marching ants because they're hidden. And next, click on the white mask for the group. Make sure you have a black brush. If you don't, you can click the black brush button and have your brush at 100% opacity. And then what you want to do is just paint off that adjustment there with that nice soft edge brush, and it'll blend really nicely. And I'm even going to get over here a little bit. So right like that. And that brings that mountain area back and it looks really good. Now let me shut off the group. Here's before the foreground balance and contrast adjustment, and here's after. So we're off to a good start. Now, I'm noticing a funny little dark spot right here, and I'm like, what is that? So if we want to look at this mask, we could click this button right here on the Combo 6 panel. Look, I accidentally painted on there. I don't know how that happened. If that ever happens to you, just click the double arrow button, click on your white brush at 100% opacity, and we can paint that off. I must have bumped my Wacom pen there before I started. So I'll click this again. And now let's look at the overall before and after. We started out here, and now we're here, so we're off to a really good start. I'm looking at the sky and I'm noticing we don't have a lot of blue right here, and I'd like to add some more blue in that sky. I think it'll look better, so here's how we can correct that. I'm going to use another color grading tool. Now right now I have a selection, and if I add another color grading tool by clicking the plus, my selection will get entered into the color grading tool, and I don't want that. So here's what we're going to do. Deselect the selection by clicking this button on the Combo or CX panel. Now, right now I have an open group. If I want to add another color grading tool outside of this group, I need to close the group first. So click right here and now click the plus. That adds another color grading tool. Now, this is a very light area, so it's a highlight. So I'm going to click the highlight button on my color grading tool. And what I want to do is add a blue color grade. So I'm going to click like right about here. And now you can see that blue color grade in there. Now it's getting over the entire image, which I don't want. And I'll take care of that in a minute. But first I want to darken this area just a little wee bit. I'll take this to right there, -17. Now let's take care of this issue where it's on the entire image. The first thing I want to do is hide this adjustment. So come to the Combo or CX panel and click this button right here. We'll put a black hide all mask on it. And now come to the layer mask calculator, click this button. I want to add this to the sky, so click on sky and then click this button to add it as a selection. You can see I have a selection. Now the selection is hidden for us. And now click on the layer mask because we'll be painting that selection onto the layer mask. Click your white brush button and now make sure you're at 100% opacity. If you're not, type your 0 key. And with a nice soft edge brush, we just want to paint in that blue, you see, just like so. And just like that, just keep painting and just fill all this area in. When you come up into here, we're going to stop like right around here, and that nice soft edge will blend very nicely. And now let's shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Isn't that nice? Now we have some blue up there. I'm much happier. And now it's time for some mid-tone contrast. I'm just going to do a subtle contrast adjustment here in the mid-tone. So come up to the multi-mask panel, click X to close the color grading tool. Normally I do this a different way with the edit layer mask panel, but this time I know I just want a very mild mid-tone contrast. So we'll come and click on the luminosity mask button, click on mid-tones 1. It's the most subtle of the mid-tone masks. I only want this in the foreground, so click on the mask calculator button, click X to intersect, click the My Channels button, click foreground. Because we only want this in the foreground, click on equal to make that calculation. I'll put it to a curves adjustment layer. We're going to use a preset, click this drop down. And after some experimentation, I chose increase contrast. So I'll click this. Let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. Again, before and after, just a little bit of mid-tone contrast. And now I'd like to lighten up the midtones a bit, so come up to the multi-mask panel, click on the My Channels button, and you'll note we have a layer mask right here, and I only want to do the foreground, so it's already made, so we could click Layer Mask. And I'll put that to a curves adjustment layer by clicking this button right here. I want to lighten, so I'll click the SCR for screen blend mode. And now we've lightened up the midtones. Let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. I'll shut off both of these layers. Here's before and here's after. Now I don't like what's happening up here in the mountain, so we can fix that. Remember when I fixed the opening balance and contrast adjustment, we did something called masking the mask. We're going to do the same thing here. So come to the Combo or CX panel, click the right side of the group button, the curves layers inside the group. Now remember the mask we made here. No need to make this again because I already made it once. Hold down your Alt or Option key, hold it down, click and drag up and replace that mask. And just like that, I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after, but now you can see the top of the mountain is protected. I don't want to add anything more to this group, so let's click right here and close that group. So the next thing we do will go above the group. I'm looking at these boats in the water. I want to enrich their color, maybe lighten them slightly. We'll use selective color to do that. So come to the multi-mask panel and click this button right here. This is for selective color. Now these boats are in the red range. So you see where it says colors, click the drop down and click on reds. We'll start with the cyan slider. We're going to shift this more towards red. So start to drag it over to the left. And I think to right here, -47. Now I want to add a bit of magenta here. So I'll drag this to the right over to right there, +8. See this black slider? If you drag it to the left, we can lighten up the reds. And I'm going to lighten up the reds a little bit over to right there, -20. Let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after, and I like it. The only thing I don't like is this area right here is getting a little too saturated. I like what's happening up here in the mountain, so here's what we'll do. Click the black brush button. Make sure you're set at 100% opacity, and what we'll do is just paint this off right here and maybe down into the water right there. But that's it. Now let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. And now I want to work in these trees, and we'll use selective color again. Click on the selective color button on the multi-mask panel. This time we want to go to yellows, so click on yellows, and what I want to do here is take magenta and shift it more towards green, and watch the trees when I do that. See how the trees become greener? And I want to take this over to right there, -19, and now I want to shift the yellow a little more towards yellow, and I'll take that over to right there, +12. And I like it. Let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. And I like everything that's changing and all the greens in the image, so we're not going to do any masking. Next up, I want to bring out some detail on the mountain and on the trees and on these boats. And to do that, we're going to use the Camera Raw filter and the effects inside that filter. Go to the Combo or CX panel and click on the Camera button. Click on the Effects tab, and we want to work with texture. I'll drag my texture slider to the right, and we'll take it a good way over to like 36. Let's give it some clarity. I'll move the clarity slider to the right over to 22, and I just want to give it a little bit of negative dehaze, not much. I'll just take this to the left over to right there, -4. Now, right now it's on the entire image. We'll just click OK and go back into Photoshop. By the way, the Camera Raw filter is a smart filter, the way it's set up here when you click on the Camera Raw button. So you can always double click Camera Raw filter and go back and make readjustments. On the Combo or CX panel, click this button that puts a black hide all mask. Now go to the layer mask calculator, click this button on the Combo or CX panel, click on foreground, and click this button to load it as a selection. This way we don't have to worry about getting up into the sky. We're going to start with a mountain here, and now with a nice soft edge brush, make sure you click on the layer mask. You want a white brush, so click on the white brush button, and just go ahead and paint that detail right onto that mountain. If you overlap into the trees a little bit, it's not going to hurt anything. That soft edge is going to blend nicely. So right there. Now on the trees, I want to reduce the opacity to 30%. So type your 3 key. That'll get you 30%. And now I just want to paint over the trees in this area. And I even might get this building right here. And I'm going to make the brush a little smaller. And let's go over the boats here. And make it a little smaller again and paint over these boats. And that's good. Just take your time, but it's going to blend nicely so you don't have to worry too much. So let me shut this off. Here's before, and now here is after. And I hope you can see that in the video. Sometimes with the YouTube compression, it's hard to see these detail adjustments. We still have our selection, so I'll click this button to shut off the selection. What I want to do next is close off the bottom of the image here, just to keep the viewer into the frame. On the Combo R6 panel, hold down your Shift key and click on the Multiply button. You're going to get a Curves adjustment layer with a black hide all mask and the Multiply darkening blend mode, which is perfect for making our darkening gradient at the bottom of the image. Go to your Photoshop tools and click on the Gradient button. And then come up here to the menu and click the drop down. Open up your TK gradients, click the white to black gradient. Make sure you have linear gradient clicked on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click like right about here. Click and drag up on a slight angle to maybe somewhere right about here. Now, if we don't want to see this line, we could go ahead and click this icon. Reduce layer opacity to 0%. And now let's just build it up slowly and stop where we think it looks the best. And I think it looks good right at 39%. And if we want to readjust this, and I think I do, click on the mask. And I think I want to just shift this a little bit to the left. Yeah, to make that a little bit darker over there, right there. Now let's shut this off. Here's before and here's after. Yeah, that's better. I want to add another gradient. I call this a double close, where I'll just put a little small gradient right here on the edge. So to do that, hold your Shift key down and click on the Multiply button again. We need to click on our gradient tool. Everything is set from before, and all we'll do is like click and drag up to maybe right about here. If we don't want to see this line, click on this icon, and let's take the opacity the whole way off and build it up slowly to right there, 51%. Now let me shut this off. Here's before, here's after. Now let me shut off both of the gradients. This is before and this is after. See how that keeps the viewer into the frame? That's really nice. I think it's time for a vignette. So on the Combo R6 panel, click a TK button. If your TK actions aren't open, click on Vignette. A Gaussian blur dialog comes up. I always just click OK. Now, I want to keep this out of my darkest dark, so come to the Multi-Mask panel, click on the Edit Blend Diff button. I also want to keep it out of the lightest lights, so click this button right here. No darks 2, no lights 2. Let me uncheck gray. You can see this is before blend diff and this is after. I think I want it a bit darker. I'll take the opacity up to right there, 40%. Now let me shut off the vignette. Here's before and here's after. The next thing I'm going to do is lighten up these clouds. I'll use a luminosity mask to help me target them. And what we'll do is come to the multi-mask panel, close Edit Blend Diff by clicking X. Click on the luminosity mask button. And right now we're on lights 1, here's lights 2. I'm trying to really isolate these clouds, and here's lights 3. And I think lights 3 gets it. Now I need to output this to a dodge tool. You can use either side of the dodge tool, the left or the right. I'll just use the right. I'll get a blank pixel layer in the overlay blend mode, and I am painting through this lights 3 selection. And now with a brush opacity of 10%, right now I'm on 30, I'll type my 1 key. I just want to paint on these clouds just to lighten them up. It'll add a little bit more drama up here. I think it'll look really, really nice. And we'll just paint away. Take your time. I'm going to go pretty quick here. Right in here, maybe up in here a little bit, over here, maybe on this guy, get up in here. I don't know. Take your time, but I think that's going to be pretty good. Let me go ahead and shut this off. Here is before. Look at those clouds. Here's before and here's after. Again, before and after. Just lights them up a little bit, and I think that looks good. And now I'm looking at all these light areas up in here and down around the boats and over in here. I want to darken these areas, and I'll use a zone mask to help me target those areas. Come up to the multi-mask panel, click on the zone mask button, and your color picker comes up, and I'm looking for a light tone, like right here. We'll click OK, and we're really isolating all these areas, so we don't even need to do any fine tuning. Just output this to a burn tool. You could use the left or right side. I'll use the right side. You're going to get a blank pixel layer in the soft light blend mode, and we're painting through a selection. So I still have 10% brush opacity, which I think is good. Now I'll paint across here. I painted once, I lifted, I'm painting again. Every time you see me paint, I've lifted my brush or unclicked my mouse and painted again. So I just want to, go over this several times and just blend it and make it look right. In other words, darken it up just the right amount. And I think I'll get in here a couple times, over in here. And then down in here, I want to paint across here and just tone this down a little bit. It's just a little bit too light right in here and here, down in here. Take your time. In the video, I have to go pretty quick, so Forgive me if I don't just get everything 100% perfect, but you see what I'm doing. I'm going to get it as best as I can. Let's go back here again. And the other thing I want to do is go in the water and just tone down all these reflections in here. Just paint over these reflections like so. And I might even go right along the edge of the boat here, this reflection, and just paint across this a couple times just to tone it down. Like that, maybe over here. And I think that's pretty good. Let me shut this off. Here's before and here is after. Again, before and after, much better. The last thing I want to do is just pop a slight amount of contrast in this image. And to do that, we're going to use a curves adjustment. Right now I have a selection, so I need to click this button to deselect that selection. Click on this button to get a curves adjustment layer. And I'll use a preset. There's a nice preset here, so click this drop down, and it is called Linear Contrast. I'll go ahead and click it. It's a very slight contrast curve. As you can see, very slight. Let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. Just a nice little touch of contrast as a finishing touch. Now that is the completed edit. Let's see where we started from. On the Converse CX panel, click this button. We started out here and now we end up here. And I'm really happy with the way this edit turned out. I do hope you give it a try. Download the image and the PDF notes. Well, there it is, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's full edit tutorial using the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Click the bell notification icon, click all so that you'll receive all notifications. And then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll be notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. And I will see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.